Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another end of the year video. I just did a video for my top 11, 12, and 13 album of the year 2021. This video will be doing the same, but for my EP of the year list. So it's been a very heavy year for EPs. There have been a ton of releases. It was very difficult for me to rank this. I've been spent a ridiculous amount of time ranking this year's releases. It's what I like to do though, so though stressful, it's still fun. I don't know why I put so much into really coming up with that list, but I do, and thus here we are. I'm going to go over 11, 12, and 13, starting with number 13. I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight in. My number 13 EP of the year is Like Moths to Flames, Pure Like Porcelain. They went from releasing an album last year at the end of Actually, they didn't release it really at the end. I waited until New Year's Eve. It was actually the first live stream I ever did was Like Moths to Flames. But anyway, they put out a full-length album last year, went into this year, put out this EP, which between the two, I really like this for Like Moths to Flames. It's something I revisit much more, even though I liked a lot of the tracks on New Eternity and Gold. I think this stands out a bit more. Something in, I think, like that energy that they're bringing, not that there wasn't as much energy in No Eternity and Gold. I think it's just put into different places on the EP that work more for me. I have to admit, seeing this album art and having the Preservation of Hate being the first single released, I thought they were going to go like this extremely heavy direction for the entirety of the EP, of which it did not end up happening. I was a bit surprised that they had a lot of the stuff I really like in their discography, like the clean vocals. I really like the choruses on this album, which I ended up being very glad that it did go that direction, because some of my favorite parts are like hearing the EP title in there, Pure Like Porcelain. Those are obviously clean vocals. Some of the choruses, Views from Halfway Down, ended up being my favorite song off of the EP. But the Preservation of Hate, excellent. I got to see that live this year as well. Really threw down. Like Moths to Flames always brings a lot of energy to their performance, and is just a lot of fun to see live. With this, I really loved like the kind of, screechy guitar, this super heavy Like Moths to Flames, and it's not super out of character for them at all to be heavy. You go back into their discography. Anyway, I don't think that they strayed too far outside of the sound that they go with in their discography, having that bleh in there, but songs like The Preservation of Hate, having no cleans at all, just going straight to the point. I think there was something different. I don't know, because they do capture that heaviness, like I said, in their discography, but something in like screechy guitars and Chris's vocal performance definitely seems to be at its peak. I wouldn't say that, yeah, this is too out of character for Like Moths to Flames, and that's really what I had been expecting. And I'm not sure what it could have really had any better for Like Moths to Flames. I think this is them at the top of their game. Massive breakdowns, really catchy in some parts. I like that they open up too, because like what I was saying with that Pure Like Porcelain part, because you have that heavy itch scratched for sure, but then also getting those kind of open parts, letting the clean vocals shine a bit. I like that as well. So this is my number 13. I'm not really sure what it could have done better in terms of Like Moths. I love this sound for them going forward. I hope to and keep enjoying their releases as much as I did this one. I already mentioned my favorite parts of the EP, or my favorite song, Views from Halfway Down. So yeah. My number 12 EP of the year 2021 is ExitWounds, Heaven is Empty, Hell is in Mind. This is a band that was new to me with this release. I heard Grave Robber first. I really enjoyed what I heard there. Listening to the full EP, the heaviness that was brought forward by it in both the instrumentals and the vocals really grabbed me. And I think that had it expanded a bit more on the clean vocals that you get in Grave Robber, especially that being the first track that I heard and kind of what got me into it, it could have placed even higher or stuck with me a bit more if it had expanded on that sound a bit, or like went a bit more that direction throughout some of the EP, because it felt just very heavy and kind of too similar throughout to place higher, although I love that sound, so that's why it's still on my honorable mentions list. It's something that I revisit often. It's definitely good for my workout playlist and all of that. But those cleans in Grave Robber, I really liked. They stood out to me. One of the standout parts of the EP in general. But also in addition to that, I love just those massive breakdowns. They really deliver on the buildup that I feel like they put forward, mentioning how focused it is on that heaviness and that aggressive sound. I feel like the breakdowns in there really delivered on that build-up and just that heavy tone. So it's super heavy release, with Grave Robber being, it almost like kind of, especially being in the beginning, kind of throws you for something, for a loop a little bit. I think it's a little bit out of place almost, just because it's in the beginning like that. Maybe it would place better otherwise somewhere different in it, but regardless, obviously I really like this release, especially this being a newer band. It looks like they had more in their discography that I have not listened to yet that I will need to, but going forward, this band is absolutely on my radar. Like I said, Grave Robber, favorite track on there. Yeah, I really like this band. Newer band for me. I'm not sure how long they've been around. I should have checked, but it looks like they had some more releases. So all of these bands, I will be linking their social media and stuff. I highly urge you to obviously check out all of these. That's why I'm taking the time to talk about them, link them and such. I feel they're really important. So for me, yeah, I've loved this. This is a great introduction to the band for me, and I thought Grave Robber is a great introduction to the band for me as well. Setting the standards that high, that's a really good sign. So it's not to say that obviously the focus of this is I wish it had more of that sound. It's that it did include it, and I really enjoyed that. So Grave Robber is a highlight track for me from this year. This EP is excellent. My number 11 release, another new band to me, Viridian. This release, Into the Sound, is, if you like huge groovy riffs, this is perfect. If you're a gent lover, it's really hard for this not to be stand out for you. It's very groovy. It's immediately some of the breakdowns and stuff come into my head when I'm thinking about it. Just very catchy, well done. The vocals match perfectly to those big, I keep using the word groovy. I can't think of a better way to, just the groove is something that's super stand out in this. The strings, a lot of big guitar and bass parts, which if you watch my streams or anything like that, a few of my videos, I mention it quite a bit. I'm a huge sucker for that. So the vocals come in to complement that sound perfectly every time, I feel like, and I don't think that they travel too much outside of that sound throughout it. And I think in order for it to be like a chart topper, it needed to a little bit, because I felt each song was just really consistent. They have an interlude track that's nice. They have that guitar sound that I'm talking about that's most present throughout it. It's also complemented by some clean parts that stand out a lot because of how identifiable or you know, unique their guitar sound is. I mean, undeniably gent and you know, categorizable, but when it comes to this release, it definitely has its own sound in my head, especially being a newer band, being such a stacked year with EPs, for it to stick out and be something I keep revisiting and being like, oh, you know what, I need to go back to Garden View. That was my favorite track off of this. To hear this part, it sounds like there are certain little parts in the album that just cue towards they could kind of open up their sound and get a little bit more experimental or kind of go outside just that pattern, but it works for them very well. This is a fantastic, I keep using the word excellent, but this is a fantastic EP, almost in that top 10 for a new band. For me, that's really awesome, I would say. Definitely check this out if you haven't. There are a number of standout tracks, but Garden View definitely my favorite. Yes, worth the listen for sure. I will put in, obviously, more than worth the listen. I'll put in all the band's merch that I can find, all of that good stuff, in the description of this video. That's why I'm trying to break them up so I can properly talk about and promote each one. So this one, newer to me. I checked out the band and such, their discography, but this was what stuck with me, and I honestly can't remember if I went back or if they had anything further, which I should check. Right, they did have a song with Johnny Reeves from Kingdom of Giants, which caught my attention as well, but a newer band, not a huge discography, so we love to see that. That's a very promising, you know, early on sound for them. I love it, and even if they change it up, it still shows a lot of stuff that I enjoy throughout the talent. The vocals, I loved them throughout the entire thing. There's just something that matches up so well with the way some of those drops that I'm talking about, and then the vocals come in and the vocal flow, all of that just done excellently, which is why, though I said that I wanted maybe a little bit something different for it to place more, it still is ranked so highly because I love the sound that it does have. So yeah, another one that I really enjoyed, Viridian, Into the Sound. So those are my 3 just outside of my top 10 EP of the year choices. It has been a really tough ranking decision throughout the last few months, and I've even had to add some stuff in that's come out, rearrange some things. It's just been very difficult, which is a great problem to have. It means a lot of standout music has come out yet again this year. Last year I was thinking this is probably going to be the peak for a while. I can't imagine having another year like this, but this year felt very similar when you look at how many EPs came out as well. It might not have been as heavy on the albums, but EPs were really where it was standing out. So I have 10 more that were my top 10. I've been listening to a ton of EPs, a ton of albums, a ton of everything as usual, and it's hard not to with all of this stuff coming out. I'm listening to these releases, falling in love with new stuff, just thinking like, how am I gonna find time to listen to all of this as it keeps growing? So it's a great problem to have, like I mentioned. All of these bands deserve all the love in the world, working really hard during a pandemic and such that just is ongoing, and shows coming back, getting canceled, all that stuff. So make sure the bands that helped you through the year, show them some love. That's why I try to do this stuff. I know it's not much, but it's what I can do. I spend so much time with these releases, and they help me out so much. It changes the entire course of my day, because these are really the soundtracks to everything I'm doing. I work from home, I do a YouTube channel about music, so this is a huge part of my life. So definitely to be in the top, I've listened to a ton. I should go through and count how many EPs I've listened to when I do the final videos, just to kind of for scale, because it was really difficult, even the top, 15, 20, 25, even further. So these are the top half excellent stuff I'm listening to on repeat for my taste. Let me know what you think of these releases, if you found anything new, what your top 11, 12, 13 were. We can go through and do them together. I will be posting the same about albums, and then I will, of course, be doing my top 10. Yeah. Thank you. All of my social media and the Discord server invite link, all the stuff that is normally at the outro of my video, that will be in the link tree in the description. And more importantly, as I mentioned, the band's social media, merch, all of that stuff, that will be in the description. Give them some love, check them out. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video if you want.